Alright guys, the moment is here. I think the delivery guy just dropped off my Webasto Airtop Evo 40. Looks like it. Alright, here's the Webasto Evo 40 next to the Chevy Astro Van stock rear heat. It's about the same length forward to back on the, so looks like it's gonna fit in this hole nice once I remove this rear heat system. We're gonna get into doing that and I'll show you guys how to do it. Well, we'll figure it out together. Alright, so we are under the van, directly under that heater core. These little two downspouts are what go through the floorboard. I had these two hoses connected there. I just went to Lowe's and got a brass 90 3/4 inch. Whenever you use the squeeze clamps, put them up in there, and that bypasses that heater core. We could just go up in the cab and remove the screws and take it out from here. Okay, so here's what it looks like with the heater removed. You can see the two holes there. That's the top side of what I was showing you earlier underneath with the two little nipples. Those little nipples are now gone. Both the pipes or hoses under there have been connected together, so it forms a loop. Next thing you want to do is bring her up to operating temperature. Say just under 210. And check for leaks. I don't see any. I think we're good. Okay, now that we got this guy assembled, I got the bottom plate on there, so the footprint. We're gonna go in the van and mock it up. Let's go. Okay, my heater is gonna go right there. Okay, fit looks pretty good. I should be able to get it in there where I want it. Now we're gonna go ahead and remove the seat. The heater is in, the hole is drilled. She used a trusty 4-inch hole saw, 4.5-inch hole saw actually. And I'll show you the hole. There's the hole in the bottom of the van. Like I said, 4.5 inches. You can see the old heater hoses there. They came up out of these two holes. And this was the old rear heat unit. So just replacing the old rear heat unit with a Webasto Airtop Evo 40 gasoline heater. It's going to work independently of the van's engine and keep us warm all night. Took a flap disc to all these holes and a file to the inside edge of here. Now we're going to get some good old Rust-Oleum paint. We're going to paint it up and seal all these spots. Black's all I had, so that's what we're going with. Okay, now that all that's painted, while we let that dry, I'm gonna go ahead and drop the fuel tank. This is an 03 Astro Van. In order to get the fuel tank down, there are these straps here. So we have one bolt here towards the front of the van. If we travel back, we're gonna have another one right there. And then same thing on the other side, here and here. And then once we get that down, I'm gonna put a jack under here and just slowly lower it down. And we can access the top where the fuel pump pickup is, and we can tap the tank. Alright, here's the Astro Van fuel tank, completely out of the van. There's a little collar on here that you just have to twist off, and then this sending unit just pulls right up and out. I've already modified mine to accept the Webasto fuel standpipe. Just went ahead and put the hose clamp on there already. Removed the fuel tank pressure sensor, which was right here. I'll have to modify that a little bit to get this to fit, but it should work out great. Anyways, drilled a hole right under this guy, and then it just bolts right in there. I went ahead and put an S curve in the standpipe. That way the sending unit still actuates up and down like it's supposed to. Shouldn't get in the way. Just gonna clip this guy off. Probably right here. That way I will always still have fuel left in my gas tank and not let the heater run my gas tank out of fuel, and I'll always be able to leave. So it'll be a little bit of a fail-safe here and should work out perfect. Like I said, I have to modify this fuel tank pressure sensor, so you can see those clips hit. So I'm just going to go ahead and clip these guys off with a pair of dikes, and we'll see if we can get it to fit. Alright, so as you can see, with a little bit of convincing from the file, everything fits in here snug. Looks good. We're gonna go ahead and clip this guy and then reinstall the fuel sending unit. Okay, there she is, all back in the tank. You can see I routed the auxiliary line for the heater out under here, and then it's just gonna come out kind of where the fuel neck comes in. It should be right under the heater, and it's gonna work out perfect, hopefully. So I'm just gonna go ahead, tap this baby back in. It's a good shot of the top of the fuel sending unit with the auxiliary port drilled and ran out to where the heater's gonna be. Alright, fuel tank is in. Again, it's just 4 15mm bolts there. We got to reconnect all the fuel lines that came out and the plugs, but that's pretty self-explanatory. I got my fuel line ran down here, just cut off some extra so I'd have enough. And there's the hole for my heater, nice and close to my line. So figure out somewhere to install the fuel pump somewhere around here, and we'll get it routed. Okay, so we gotta do something about these holes. As you can see here, I just got me a 50-cent piece, fits over that hole, dime, fits over that hole, another dime, fits over this hole. Then I got a Sacagawea dollar that's gonna fit barely in that hole. So all that's left is the big hole, and then 4 mounting holes for the heater. Just gonna use this welder contact adhesive. Okay, I went ahead and dropped the heater back in the hole. We got the exhaust coming down here, a silver pipe. Got the intake routed up pretty nice. Came with like a little clip here, and I just found a little hole and I mounted it into the frame. So no modification really there. That was nice and easy. Alright, so I just got the exhaust installed. There's the output. Goes down up into this muffler here, and then tied up into the heater. To attach the muffler, I found some holes that were already in the frame there, and I just used, like, I think it's like a 10mm threaded bolt, and went right up into that hole. I found it in my garage. So other than that, everything I needed came with the kit. It's nice and clean. Alright, just got the fuel system hooked up to the bottom of the heater. Comes out of the top of the tank that we tapped earlier. The line comes into here, through the filter, through the pump, through this little elbow, and through the line back up to the bottom of the heater. Next up, we have to connect this guy to the fuel pump plug, which is up here. This guy. So we'll get that done now. Good look at the exhaust. Shooting out. Alright, we're back out here the next day. Last night it got a little dark after I was doing the fuel lines. Couldn't really film me, but what I was doing was installing and tightening down the mounting bolts, the 4 mounting bolts to the plate.
What I didn't realize whenever I drilled the bolts was these two rear holes go down into a pocket that is covered by a panel underneath the van, so they were inaccessible. I ended up doing a T-nut or a riv nut in the floorboard for both of these guys. Went and got like a 1/4 inch by 2 inch bolt and bolted right in. So these two are bolted underneath the van. These two are rib nutted into the floor of the van. So not looking too bad. The only thing we have left to do now is the wiring. So let's get started. This is the main tower here. Heard it click. I'm gonna have to go check the instructions for where this guy goes. Alright, so that did not go according to plan. I didn't film all of that because it was really confusing and just I had a lot going on. Where I left you off, I had this electrical connector plugged into there. Hooked up the battery. I just left this guy dangling for the time being. It wasn't something that was necessary, I found out, so that's okay. Like I said, hooked up the battery, got everything working. The controller came on. Went through the settings, just like everybody else. I started off with the venting. Fan did not come on. I'm like, man, what's happening? So I went to heat. Heat would not come on. I couldn't get the fuel pump to start clicking. The fan would never spin. So, it's a little frustrated. I called Webasto technical support, and the first thing they said was, make sure your electrical connector is plugged in. Okay. Came back outside and my electrical connector was loose, so I tried to push it in and get the little clip to clip onto the hook and just could not do it. This O-ring was, you know, like, I don't know, terrible. I don't even know how this connector can connect normally. I watched a bunch of videos and never seen anybody with this problem, but yeah, anyways, called Webasto back and said, hey, there's no way that this connector is going to connect. I've been pushing and pushing, and in the process, I actually broke the little tab that's supposed to lock it on. And they say you have to have this thing clipped in all the way, locked on for the heater to even fire. So right now, I'm at a standstill. Webasto said that, you know, basically it's my fault. You know, I think this is a defective clip. I didn't send him any pictures or anything yet. This is just kind of like over the phone. So I called the manufacturer that I bought this system from. They were very helpful, Van Life Outfitters. They said that they're gonna try and, you know, contact Webasto. They seem to believe that the part was defective and see if they can get me a new wiring harness. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to fork out $160 to $200 to get a new one. Other than the wiring harness issue, the install went great. I'm very happy with the quality of the heater. It looks amazing in here. You can see here's my intake, pulls from the front of the van by the driver's seat, and plenty of clearance for the third row seat. See my ducting there. I bought a kit that had a Y so I can get 2 vents. This one comes up. This is a smaller 60 mil vent, and that one is going to just be the main heat for the van. I'm gonna use this guy as a clothes dryer in my closet. 60mm vent, 90mm vent. You can see the size difference. But yeah, super excited. You guys have any questions about the install, how I tapped the gas tank? I know I didn't film that just because I wanted to make sure that I did it right and didn't want too many things going on. But any other questions or anything, leave them in the comments and I'd be happy to help you guys out. In the next video, I'm going to be building a cabinet here, at least mocking it up out of this wood over here. And I'll let you know what Webasto says about the wiring harness. See you guys on the next one.